Welcome back to WRPL. It's the podcast where we talk about all the things we are watching, reading, playing, and listening to. My name's Ben.
And I'm Steve.
How you doing, Steve?
I'm tired, Ben.
Yeah, always.
I'm always tired.
That's the theme of 2023 for you. I'm tired. So, start off, I got a bunch of stuff. I have a bunch of little things. I have a fun little game I want us to play.
Okay.
I have a lot of things to recommend. I'm going to try to be as concise as possible. So, start off, sad news. Had two major musical deaths in this week. Jimmy Buffett died, and Steve Harwell, the lead singer of Smash Mouth, died at like 56. You know, it was like, but if you've seen any of the videos of him that have come out this year, you knew it was coming. He was just been like a drunken mess, not being able to perform, and he died of liver failure. So, not surprising. Any thoughts on either of those?
I was trying to think of like a Smash
Mouth.
I only know the one song.
You probably know a couple.
The two.
Yeah.
Like,
all that glitters is gold.
One last all-star.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had nothing.
But I did hear one for Jimmy Buffett. A comedian was saying, people are already speculating who did it, and some people say it was a woman to blame. It's good. That's
Wait,
a great joke.
He wasn't murdered, right?
No.
He just died of
No, he just died.
Okay.
No.
Just wanted to make sure. I didn't know he died.
Yeah. All right, well, let's roll before we do this fun little game, and then we'll get into all of our recommendations. All right.
7. Ooh.
Yuck.
Big money, big whammy. No whammies, no whammies, no whammies.
Big
And
whammies, big whammies.
19.
Oh, shit. 2 weeks in a row, Steve. You get 19 2 weeks in a row.
Way to die.
Yeah.
They're waiting for me, not for you, though. Somehow.
Yes, it knows. It's a fingerprint sort of thing. Sad news. Remember this date, 9/1/2023, because Regal is no longer playing their intro with the movie quotes. They have taken it off their pre-show. And now it's just a Pepsi ad. It's just Pepsi and popcorn. They don't have anything fun to replace it.
I was at the theater today, and I didn't even notice.
Didn't even notice.
Wow.
Yeah, it's not there. So
Thank God.
some people are cheering, some people are sad. My answer is lean into it. Bring it back, but with just new quotes. Who cares if they're worse than what we have? I mean, this was awful. They clearly didn't know what the assignment was. Do it again. And every 6 months, do it again. And just see how terrible it can get. And I'm all for it.
I mean, you had maybe 20 quotes in that 30 to 60 second commercial. Did you count? Jesus Christ.
15. 15 quotes.
Okay. Why the fuck do you have that? All right. Anyway, so there's 15. There's so many movies. You can do this bit and still make it work for years, I would think. Especially if you do it only every 6 months.
Exactly.
But making high quality commercials is expensive, so I see why they wouldn't do that.
Is this a high quality one? They could probably save a little
in
not getting Danny
to the dealership
Trejo.
ad at your local car dealership. Yeah,
sure, but they got to have some promotion.
You hired actors, you hired professional people to do it. Like it's a nice that commercial. If it was like actually selling a product, would be on your television, and like it has movie quality or television quality.
Yeah, sure, it's well made.
It's made for the screen.
Yeah.
So yes, it is expensive. That's how things are.
Yeah, okay. So we're going to play a game, and we're going to test your cred. How big of a movie fan are you?
Oh, no. You're setting me up for failure.
In honor of the Regal ad, you're going to tell me where these ads come from, or where these quotes come from.
Okay.
So I'll tell you the quote, you tell me the movie it comes from.
Okay.
And I'll be honest, that, there were some that you know it. You've heard this quote before, but you just have no idea where it came from.
Okay.
It's just such in the what's the...
Zeitgeist?
No, the language.
Vernacular?
The vernacular.
Okay.
Yeah. So they're in order in the ad. So this first one, I think, was one of the hardest ones. I did not know this one, but it's all happening.
Yeah, got nothing.
Nothing? Almost Famous.
Oh, that's a good movie.
This place is nicer than my apartment. Ha ha ha. Or he he he.
I also forget.
Wow. Beverly Hills Cop.
Oh,
Come on,
I've never seen Beverly Hills Cop.
But it's like he's doing an Eddie Murphy impression.
I'd see. You doing it, I didn't hear it, but him, like, I hear it now that you said, okay.
Okay. Surely you can't be serious. I am serious, and don't call me Shirley.
That's from Airplane, right?
That is Airplane.
Okay. Never saw Airplane, but I know.
What the fuck? Really?
It's
one of the best comedies, one of the best parodies?
I want to see it. It's just it never came up when I was growing. It was a little bit before my time.
Wow.
So,
okay. So I got that going for me, which is nice.
That's Caddyshack, right?
Caddyshack, yeah. I Miss Your Musk. I didn't know this one until like I heard it, and there is kind of like an accent and emphasis on words that makes it better. So if it, I miss your musk.
Con Air. Was that
no?
Was that Nicolas Cage's weird fucking?
No, I'm sorry. That was terrible. It's Anchorman.
Oh, see, I was thinking Anchorman just from the Sex Panther, but I don't remember that quote at all. That movie's so quotable.
I know.
That's the one you picked?
Of all of them, yeah. I would have gone with, go fuck yourself, San Diego. That's good for a commercial. This is the one that, like, you've heard this before, but knowing that it came from this movie, it's just strange. This just seems like a phrase that's always been around, and maybe it has, and this movie just popularized it. But that's gonna leave a mark.
Tommy Boy.
Yeah,
yeah, and it's even got the big guy, and that one I've seen Tommy Boy 50 times, so I would be upset with myself if I missed that one.
She's beauty and she's grace.
Oof. I really should have looked these up. She's beauty and she's grace.
I wasn't going to tell you we were doing this because I knew you would look him up and then just like, oh, I'm an ace at this.
No, I like to think I'm a more or less honest person. She's beauty and she's grace. Fuck it, I don't know.
Miss Congeniality.
No, never saw Miss Congeniality.
Hey, you guys.
Goonies.
Yeah. It's not a man purse, it's a satchel.
Is that The Hangover?
Yes.
Okay.
Get the guy who looks like Zach Galifianakis. You can't sit with us.
Forrest Gump is you can't sit here.
Can't sit here.
Yeah. You can't sit with us. Can I get like a hint?
I want to say 2004 high school comedy written by an SNL alum.
Oh, God.
Early careers for the four main girls.
Oh. Mean Girls?
Yeah, I'm not giving you a point for that one, though.
No, that's fine.
So you're telling me there's a chance.
Dumb and Dumber.
Dumb and Dumber. I knew it was you, Fredo. You broke my heart.
The Godfather Part 2?
Yes, Part 2. I would have said Part 1, I think. As If.
Clueless?
Yep. This one I just didn't know. You sit on a throne of lies. I assume, I hear throne, I thought Game of Thrones, but it's all movie things, not TV things.
Yeah.
And when I found out, I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. I've only seen this movie one time, and then in clips. Elf. Talking to, like, the other, like a fake Santa.
Ooh.
And last one, this is the beginning of a beautiful friendship.
That is
The most classic one on here. It's the oldest one.
Yep, Casablanca.
You got it. So you got 8 out of 15. So more than half, so pretty good. But that back half is pretty easy. It's that front half. So congratulations, Steve.
I'll take it.
And you know, hopefully there'll be a time where you can test.
You know, as many times as I've seen that goddamn commercial, you would think that, oh yeah, I don't know where some of these are from. I'll look them up.
Yeah.
But I was just like, I don't fucking care.
Yeah. But you know them all. You know that they are movie quotes.
Yeah.
All right, so I want to start us off.
For your little things, how about you rapid fire them?
Oh, okay.
I mean, if you want to start with somewhere else, that's fine when it comes to like, so here's just little things that just like really rattle them off.
I'll knock them out real quick. Because
Okay.
how many things do you have?
I think 5 or 6 altogether.
Okay, cool. I got like 40. But a lot of them are quick.
I need you to have a kid so you can slow the fuck down.
No. See, that's why I don't want to have a kid, because then I would be forced to slow down. And then, like, it'd be, do I go change the kid, or do I watch another episode of what I'm watching?
Babe, change the baby and raise it while I'm over here watching stuff.
All right, so I actually consumed a new thing. Chick-fil-A has a new hot honey pimento cheese chicken sandwich. I saw this online a while ago, and I was very excited. So it's got a hot honey sauce, it's got pimento cheese, and jalapenos.
I love honey. I don't think honey's in enough stuff. And maybe there's a good reason why. I don't know what that is, but I feel like I would see honey in like smoothies or honey in, I don't know, just other
granola bowl, you know.
Or maybe there's like a honey Coca-Cola. I'm not saying I want honey Coca-Cola, but I'm just, you don't see honey.
You don't see honey a lot.
sodas.
Well, I like honey, but if I get a biscuit from Popeyes, I don't put honey on it. I put jelly.
Yeah.
So, like, I like honey, and I just got into hot honey for, like, my pizza and stuff.
Yeah.
And that's pretty great. I think hot honey is going to bring the honey revolution.
Mm.
Yeah. So I was very excited because also I'm a big pimento cheese fan. And so I substituted it for the spicy sandwich because why would you ever get a regular Chick-fil-A sandwich? It kind of sucks. Yeah. I don't love jalapenos to like bite into. I like their flavor. The honey is barely there. Only one of my bites had a little bit of sweetness, and that could have been portions or just it got overpowered by everything else. And the pimento cheese, although it's a good pimento cheese, I don't think it does anything to make the sandwich taste better. I don't think I would ever get this again. I would just get a basic spicy chicken sandwich. But I think they could use this pimento cheese on like fries, like get a little basket of fries, pimento cheese on it, maybe some Chick-fil-A sauce. They could have their own sort of style of nachos.
Do you think you possibly would have tasted the honey more, or would have been more, you would have gotten more of the flavor had you gone just a regular chicken
Maybe, because it is supposed to be hot honey, and maybe the spice of the spicy chicken overpowered it. That could be it, but I wasn't going to try out. If I was going to have it once, I'm going to have it my exact way.
Sure.
So I'd say pass on it. Most of the stuff hits pretty well, but yeah, not this. So I'll do two quick ones.
Okay, let's hit it.
Two of my shows came to the end of their seasons.
Okay.
What We Do in the Shadows, season 5, still one of the funniest shows on TV, with an astounding cast. Everyone is so great and so perfect for those roles. This season focuses on Guillermo kind of sick of waiting around for Nandor, and he wants to be a vampire, and by God, he'll do it his way if Nandor won't do it, and all the fallout that comes with that. So interesting. And one of the things I really like about the show is that they go into vampire lore that doesn't always get talked about. Because as I've said a million times before, vampires have the hugest set of rules for their power set. Like, they're trying to just figure out if some of these things are urban legends. And one is, if you drop a bowl of rice in front of them, they'll stop anything that they're doing and count all the grains. And that's something I had heard before, but it's never been like, I've never seen it in anything.
I have not heard that vampire lore.
And things like vampires can fly, but no higher than the lowest cloud in the sky. Like, such strange rules. And so they're going through these things and just trying to kind of find origins to them. And then Nandor's trying to prove that he can fly into outer space. And it's just...
This feels like someone in a foreign country like had a back alley version of Dracula, and then they were trying to remember the story. And they're like, yeah, and then Dracula had some weird powers. I think there was one where he couldn't fly above clouds or something, and that just kind of got passed on. And
he couldn't fly higher, than the sun, and then it just gets bastardized with the retelling. Yeah. And before
it became a telephone, and the next thing you know, Dracula has to count rice.
But in that same episode, they also do like Nadia's soul has been in a doll since like season 2. So you get 2 Nadjas, which is great since she's my favorite character. And her soul, she wants to experience losing her virginity because she became a vampire while she was still a virgin. So when she died, her soul is still a virgin. So they're like trying to put her body into another person's body. And then they eventually put Nadja's doll soul in The Guide, played by Kristen Shaw, and then Colin Robinson's soul in it as well. And they do this, what was that fucking movie? Malevolence? No. With the face on the back of the head?
Oh, Malignant.
Malignant. And so, like, Kristen Shaw is performing and then turns and then his face is on the back of her head and they're, like, doing a duo number. What is that called? A duo song and dancing? A duet. Jesus Christ.
What are we doing here?
Yeah, they're doing this duet. It's just some of the funniest, weirdest, most absurd things, and I love that FX just allows them to say anything, and so that nothing's bleeped out. It's all very vulgar. This season did have one of the worst episodes of the entire show. It's with like little mutant Guillermos. It's terrible. It's really unfunny and embarrassing, and I think, looking at it, taking a step back, it seems like one of those things you see when a show's gone a little too... It's been on a little too long, and they're resorting to this. But then they followed it up with some of the best episodes of the series. So I'm going to say it's a little stumble, and hopefully it doesn't go away anytime soon, because this show is just absolutely great.
Yeah, it's amazing to me that it's gone 5 seasons because I haven't heard a single other person talk about it other than you.
Which is crazy.
I mean, not that, my circle's so huge.
Sure. Next time you're on Instagram, just search What We Do in the Shadows. It'll start coming up in your algorithm and you'll see all the fans.
No, I'm sure it has fans. It has to, but I'm just surprised. Usually this kind of thing, I figured would have fizzled out after season 3 or so, but 5 seasons still going.
Still going strong. And so the other show is My Adventures with Superman, Season 1 came to the finish. I think you really should watch this. I think you would really like it. The
only thing I've seen from it is very brief clips where, and not even like clips, it seems like people are very thirsty for these animated characters. And maybe I'm just seeing the wrong stuff in my algorithm.
Maybe.
They're just like, these cartoons are pretty fucking hot.
Yeah, they're definitely attractive, but you look at most animes, they're drawn relatively attractive. There's not a lot of uggos in cartoon unless they're specifically supposed to be extremely ugly. But this show is great because one of the hardest things about Superman is making you give a shit. Because Superman is unbeatable, the strongest thing. He can do anything, defeat anyone. So what are his struggles? And with, say, like Snyderverse, everything was just so gloomy and down. It's a lot more upbeat. He is discovering his powers. Like, he's always known he was different, and he's just kept it a secret. He can't do everything. Like, he has his strength, his speed and flight in the beginning, but the vision and laser eyes, all that stuff comes a little bit later. So
we're supposed to be 20.
Oh yeah, he's working for the Daily Planet, and he's best friends with Jimmy and his and also Lois, and they lean into the relationship stuff pretty quick. And within a couple episodes, they know Clark is Superman, and it's nice that it's not constantly, he's having to hide it and make up bullshit excuses. They play into that, and it's very funny. But the thing I like about this Superman is, all he's ever wanted to do is fit in and not hurt anyone. He knows he is so incredibly powerful, he could kill someone with a quick hand movement. He could obliterate someone, and he just doesn't want to. He just wants to help people. So we find out that years ago, there was kind of an invasion of Kryptonians coming through a portal, and we were trying to fight them off. They kicked our ass, but then the portal closed, and they went away. And so the military with Amanda Waller and this general, they've been waiting for them to return. And once Superman shows up and starts doing good around the city, they're like, oh shit, this is one of them. He's gonna spell doom for all of us.
He's gonna Omni-Man us.
Pretty much. Exactly.
Spoilers for Invincible.
So there is an episode where, like, the Council of Loises, and it's Loises from all these other dimensions, they grab our Lois and they're like, you need to help us kill your Superman because he is the ultimate evil. In all these other worlds, their Superman went bad and had, like, an oppressive regime or just obliterated the earth. And she's like, no, that's not my Clark. He's different. And so it's him realizing, oh crap, I have the potential to do this horrible, horrible thing. And what is going to lead me down that path? All I want to do is good. It's really interesting. It's funny. It's cute. Their relationships are really charming. It's just a whole lot of fun. It's only 10 episodes for season 1. Definitely setting up for big things to come. But it's just a take that isn't reinventing the wheel, but just feels so different than anything I've seen in a long time.
Okay.
You talk now.
Okay. So, if I had just a little bit more time, I would have completed the Whirlpool. I would have played something and listened to something. But so I think I said on here before, my wife is very into books. She reads over 100 books a year. She does audiobooks. She can read like 3 books at the same time. She has like 2 audiobooks and then a regular book. Because she'll listen to an audiobook in bed, but then read a book throughout the day. Whatever. But she told me, and I'm sure she told me about this before. I was like, yeah, whatever, and just didn't listen.
You did the husband thing.
I did the husband thing. Yeah, but there's an app called Libby. So here's a little.
That's what I use.
Yeah, a little promo for the app Libby, which is you put in your library card, you get to use whatever audiobooks or not Kindle for it, but you can read the book.
They have readable versions of
readable
stuff
version.
too.
Yeah. And so,
I can't imagine reading a book on a phone though. A Kindle,
does that
I get it, but a phone, no.
So anyway, I was just like, you know what? If there's a book I really want to read, I want to buy it because I know I can give that 100% of my attention, and I can look at the words and sort of internalize their names. And I like, especially like because I read mostly fantasy stuff, that's what I want. But if there's books like I don't really want to pay for, but it just seem kind of interesting.
Yeah,
I'll check those out.
That's the beauty of a library. I don't want to pay for it.
Yeah, and she, as much as she loves books, she almost never buys them. She gets all her stuff from a library.
Yeah.
Where because I don't read that much, I always buy my books. Anyway, that was a very long intro. So one of the books I listened to, my very first audiobook. Well, there was 2. I read 2 audiobooks, and I'll talk about the first one. So I read a book on philosophy. Do you know who Mike Schur is?
Yes, he created Brooklyn Nine-Nine, right?
And The Good Place.
Yeah, okay.
So, yeah, he wrote a book about philosophy because after doing The Good Place, he did a ton of research on philosophy. And
Is it called I'm Sure?
No.
God, he's saving it for his biography.
For his auto, yeah. Damn, that's fucking good. No, the book is called How to Be Perfect, and that in itself is a joke because you can't be perfect. But it's just, in the book he describes philosophy as a bummer to read because it's all these mostly hoity-toity people who just are trying to establish what is morally right and how to do that. And he's like, reading these books is so fucking boring. So he made a comedic version that simplifies pretty much all these different ideas of philosophy, breaks them down, says this is the basic premise of it, gives examples of how you would react in this situation, why just because you do the right thing doesn't mean it will give you a right outcome, and how people kind of misconstrue these things sometimes, and how do you operate in a world where no matter how much good you want to do, you can still often fail. And in the grand scheme of things, the point is, what he's trying to teach you is, you are human, you're going to fail all the time, you learn from it, you try again, and fail better. And you just keep doing it. You're going to fail 1,000 times, but you got to keep trying. And that's the very simplified version of it. It's a 9-hour book, but it has pretty much all the entire cast from The Good Place does voiceovers. So if it's like, great philosopher Aristotle said this, and then Ted Danson will come in and say something.
Nice.
And then Kristen Bell and Mark Evan Jackson and Jamila Jamil, all the people from The Good Place come in. And then I think the drummer from Rush pops in for something. Don't ask why. But it was really interesting and kind of made me self-reflect on how do I become a better person, and how you might think this is the right thing, that if I was in this situation, that's what I would do. And he's like, but that might not be the best course of action.
Mhm.
I'm like, oh, well, yeah, you're right. So maybe this would be the right course of action. But if you just change it a little bit, well, now that's kind of fucked too. So there is no good answer. And he's just like, it's like the wonderful thing about moral philosophy. It's the idea of we're trying to make ourselves better, but there is no correct answer all the time.
Yeah, there's no finishing line to
Yeah.
like, oh, now I'm good. I don't have to do anything more.
Yeah. So the one he talked about kind of the most, or that was the simplified version, the simplest sort of idea to grasp, is called utilitarianism,
Mhm.
which essentially whatever does the most good, do that.
Mm.
But you kind of take out a human element of that,
Yeah.
where it's just like the trolley problem is the most
Mhm.
famous thing they did in The Good Place. So there's one person on the track or 5 people. Well,
One and 4 or 5 strangers.
yeah,
you know.
it's like if it's just one stranger and 5 strangers, well, you're going to run over the one stranger
Yeah.
to save more lives. But what if those 5 people are all rapists?
Yeah.
And it's just, and you can do it a million different ways, and there's always a counter argument.
Yeah.
But the whole point is try and fail, and then try again and be better. And hopefully you can be better. And show empathy and apologize. And it was all very nice, great stuff, and he did it in a fun way. And I really, really enjoyed it.
You learned some things?
I think I did.
All right.
But my one note is audiobooks, because I listened to that one on the drive, so I could grasp more of that because I was kind of higher thinking. And
Mhm.
the other audiobook I'll talk about in a minute, I missed so much. Audiobooks, yeah, I was also working
Yeah.
at the same time, or people might come and talk to me, but there's times where like I thought I was listening the entire time.
Yep.
And it's like a character who had a different name suddenly had a new name, and I missed the part where they revealed that. I'm like, what in the fuck did that
Yeah.
happen? Or 2 characters are fighting. I'm like, how did they even meet each other?
Mhm.
I was so lost at times with audiobooks. I really need, or maybe I'm just not used to it because it is the first time I did it, but
No, you're absolutely right. I space out on my audiobooks and I listen back and like, okay, I guess I didn't really miss all that much. But you do space. But I feel I do that with reading as well. You get to the bottom of the page and realize I looked at every word, but I
Yeah.
didn't retain what those words were.
yeah, but see, the thing with that for me though is I recognize that relatively quickly. I'm not reading 5 pages
Sure.
and going, wait, what the fuck just happened? I'll read the page and go, oh, I definitely missed some stuff. Go
Mhm.
back a couple paragraphs. And I lose a minute of time, where this, I could be doing something and like, whatever. I'll get to that in the next thing. But do you want to go? I feel like I rambled on for a
Sure,
while.
I have a book as well,
Oh, cool.
but mine will be even quicker. I finished Dust by Hugh Howey. This is the third
That's
book
the book 3,
in,
yeah.
in the Silo series. All in all, I'd say the series is fine. They are good framework for someone else to take and expand on. Comparing season 1 and the book, they're just very, very different. They flesh out so much more while still hitting all the same
Mhm.
beats. And I can see that in this third book. There's like a priest character. And so our main character, Juliet, she has spoilers for shows and stuff like that. I can't avoid it. But she has gone to another silo and come back. And she's told people there are other silos out there. And some people are like, no, the crazy poison outside has made you insane. We can't trust you. And so there has been a religious movement, and you have this priest who thinks of her, not very fondly, and that the ancestors or the ancient ones, the people who put them in the silo, they're the ones that you should be like praying to, and don't listen to this weird sheriff who survived the outside somehow. And this aspect is really interesting, but it's only touched on very briefly in the book. There's like a child marriage at one point, and then this priest trying to burn a bunch of the like accurate history that kind of disproves some of the things that he may believe.
Mhm.
But those are like the 3 times this priest is mentioned. I can see in the show him becoming a bigger villain and really
A multi-episode arc.
absolutely, and a foil to her, and with like the child marriage. And there's just a lot of fun things that I can't wait to see expanded on. And Hugh Howey is not great at just giving you every single detail that you need. You have to piece it together yourself, you know? And I don't like that, because as a big dummy, I need you to hold my hand sometimes, and I'm still confused about some of the things. There was a nuclear war outside, but there was also nanobots. But there was good nanobots and bad nanobots. And I don't know what's hurting you outside. Is it the radiation? But I thought we were 250 years in the future. Is it the nanobots? Well, I thought the nanobots were destroyed by the nukes. But those were the bad ones, and then it's the good ones, and oh, now it's not even that. It's something that the silos are producing. And it's like, I'm just not 100% clear. And this could be the audiobook sort of problem of that paragraph was very explicit, and I'm like, oh, do I turn a left here? Oh, wait, there's a red light. Let me stop. And I'm not paying attention.
Right.
It could very well be the case. All in all, they're a fine set of books, but I think they don't do enough with them. And that's why I'm glad the show's there. We could really flesh it out. What's your other book?
My other audiobook, as I said before, fan of fantasy. And so I read Half a King by Joe Abercrombie. For anyone who's into fantasy books right now, Joe Abercrombie is one of the hot new writers on the scene with his First Law trilogy and the Age of Madness trilogy that just came out, which apparently is even better than First Law. But this is kind of his trilogy that is lesser known. It's not
connected to the other trilogy, or it's its own standalone?
It's its own standalone. Okay. The other two trilogies I mentioned, they're in the same universe. Okay. But I think this one is totally separate. And essentially the story is a prince who has... they call him like a half man because he has a messed up hand. Okay. It's not a fully formed hand. I don't know how that single small piece of your body just makes you half a person. But either way,
because everybody in this world has enormous hands.
Yeah. But you know, it kind of has a vibe, at least how the narrator speaks. It has sort of like a Viking-esque feel. And so basically, this young prince, his father and brother are murdered by their enemies, and so he was training to be essentially a priest-like character. Most men don't go this way. It's more of a female sort of job, but he was like, I'm going to do this, and he's like smart, but he's not a warrior by any means. But he's thrust into the throne when his father and brother are dead. This is not a spoiler. It's like first chapter. And so he has to take the throne and defeat his enemies. But he's betrayed by someone in his inner circle and is left for dead. And so he becomes a slave and becomes an oarsman on this ship with this merchant and meets this ragtag group of people. And he's like, he doesn't tell anyone he's a king for a while. And then it's like, oh, yeah, I'm the rightful heir to this throne. They're like, all right, bro, we're going to put you back on the throne. And it's his journey to get back to that seat. And it's fine. I think it's kind of by the numbers. It was one of those things where I could see the big picture of it all. Mm-hmm. Like I had no problem following the story, but I was missing moments. Like I said earlier, there's a character that had a different name in the beginning of the book. And at the end, there's here's my real name. And it's like, totally missed when he revealed that. Mm-hmm. Totally missed his connection to some other character. And then I was like, oh, okay. So after I got to read the book, I went online and just kind of, okay, this is pretty much what I thought happened, but this gives a little bit more clarity as to what went on. They mention elves in the book, but they're like, the elves are all dead, or I guess, or this is elf technology or something like that. So it's a fantasy book, but it doesn't ever use magic by any means. And unless I've missed certain things here and there, it's pretty straightforward. Revenge tale and swords and all that good stuff. But for me, I didn't necessarily reinvent the wheel, and I see why this one wasn't as popular as his other books. But I still enjoyed it. It was a nice read if you like fantasy and you want to kill 9 hours. This is a solid entry. Okay. The main character, Yarvi, I really liked his character. All the side characters, they were enjoyable enough, but I don't think they really were discernible enough, other than like, this is the guy who's good with a sword. This is the girl who was hanging out with everybody. I really didn't have a lot of. I couldn't describe the
Her special skill, hanging out, being real cool.
So I there wasn't a whole lot of other characters that I really grasped onto other than the main character. So that it was fine. 3.5 out of 5 stars.
Are you going to continue with the trilogy?
Yeah. I'm reading. I'm reading the second one, or listening to the second one now.
It's fine to say reading. It's fine.
I'm still counting it as the listening part of the whirlpool, but it is reading this book.
Yeah. It's a twofer, really.
Yeah. So I'm enjoying the series enough, and I want to see how it ends. But as of right now, it's just fine.
Yeah, it feels like a Monte Cristo sort of thing.
I'm like, I think 10% into the book 2 right now, and so far I'm enjoying it more because I find that the new characters that have been introduced I'm kind of more invested in.
Okay.
But that's all I got for you right now.
Okay. How bad does a first book have to be? And not obviously, if it's terrible, you're not gonna continue reading. But like, what's the cutoff to continue to finish a trilogy? Like, C, as long as it's a C, you'll continue. Or even a C-, like, well, I'm kind of invested enough, even if it's not a great book, and I want to see where it goes. Will you go as low as like a D+? Where's the cutoff there?
I've never, at least since I've started my book-a-sance, or whatever you want to call it, where I've really gotten into reading, I haven't quit a book.
Mm-hmm.
But that's because I think I do my research and make sure the books I get are books that sound interesting to me, that come highly recommended from a bunch of people. Like, yeah, this is one of the top 10 books in fantasy right now, or of all time, or whatever. So it's unlikely that I'll pick something that I won't finish. But I think if it's just a book where it's a bunch of words I don't know, and I'm not talking like fantasy made up words, just like, what the fuck does this word even mean? I have to look up a dictionary, or there's characters who are just so boring, or the dialogue just seems so unrealistic. Because I'll take a scenario where characters are doing crazy stuff and, whatever, high concept, it doesn't matter. Or they could just be at home eating apples. But if they're doing dialogue that's super interesting and characters I like eating apples, I'll probably enjoy that story.
The apple eating trilogy. I know it.
I'm ready.
Part 3, when they get to Granny Smith, nuts.
Yeah.
I mean, fruits.
Oh, and the twist at the end when he was eating broccoli and they switched to vegetables? Crazy. No. So I think it's just a matter of... it's unlikely that would happen, but it would just be if the writing is just so bad. It's not the story or whatever. It's just...
So if it's bad writing but a cool story, you'll quit it?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so going back to vampires, I watched the vampire movie, and since we are now in the spooky season, I'm going to try to watch as many new horror movies as I can. I'm not going to rewatch The Thing or Nightmare on Elm Street. I'm going to try to watch something new. So I watched Byzantium, a vampire movie that I've been waiting to see. It seems like it was always not available to stream, but it was on Tubi. And I thought, fuck it, let's do it.
That's one of those movies where I don't know if it was the poster or the name or a combination of just a bunch of different things. But that's a movie that I've never seen, but has always been in my brain.
Yeah. It's just the sign, that vertical sign. Yeah.
Because it just seemed... it's the art house vampire movie.
Sure, yeah. You could phrase it that way. This is so different than other vampire movies.
It's Tilda Swinton and Tom Hiddleston. Right?
No, that's Only Lovers Left Alone.
Right. This is Saoirse Ronan?
Saoirse Ronan and Gemma Arterton.
Okay, yeah.
So, before I tell any sort of plot, these vampires are different. They can be in the sunlight. They don't have fangs. They don't bite you on the neck. They actually grow their thumbnail, and then they either puncture your neck or your wrist and drink from you that way. Drinking from someone doesn't turn them into a vampire. It just kills them. And I say they don't bite. They can bite. Gemma Arterton does like bite a dude, but you never see fangs. I think she's just using her regular ass teeth to get through.
Awful.
Yeah. There's nothing about crosses, reflections of mirror, holy water, garlic. None of that is brought up. But they do have to be invited into a house, which is such one of the weirdest rules for vampires. I don't get that one. And it's strange that they pick and choose certain things. Like, sunlight is generally the default in every vampire movie. And even one of the people, the young brother in Get Out, weird kind of reddish blonde hair, her brother.
Yeah.
That kid, he's in Banshee, yes. He's kind of like the love interest of Saoirse Ronan. Even when he finds out, he asks just like why don't you burn up in the sunlight? And it's never answered. And it's fine. I don't care why.
Yeah. I mean, sunlight just makes sense to me. It's an undead thing. Sunlight kind of gives life.
Yeah.
It's, you become pale and the sun hurts you because it's still magic gobbledygook.
Sure.
But it kind of makes sense.
But I think it makes more sense than like, why is garlic and holy water, effective against them?
Well, because holy water is not a thing. It's abomination against God. And so that one,
I guess.
It's just as magical as, the sun stuff.
Sure.
But
I think
the invite in makes zero sense.
it doesn't, or they can't cross water unless they are being escorted. Like, they have to be in a box in a ship to go across the water. They couldn't just walk onto a ship and then cross a body of water. They can't walk over a bridge with running water underneath it. They would have to be like carried in some manner. Like, why? That's so stupid. I get like, vampires can't swim, or they're not good at swimming, or they don't want to drown because since they are dead, they don't need to breathe air, so they would constantly be dying and regenerating or something. Like, if it was a basic fear of vampires and then it got kind of passed down through the generations, and maybe that's it, and it becomes lore of, I can't do this. They probably could, but it's just been ingrained in their head that they
can
can't.
Be in the rain and they can transform into a bat that can fly over water.
Yeah,
just the act of being in their human form, walking over it is absurd. Okay.
So pretty much this story it's like 215 years ago. Gemma Arterton was like a poor vagabond woman. She was working on a beach. I can't remember what she was doing, like cracking open mollusks or something to sell. And she gets taken by a general and forced into prostitution.
As one does.
As it happens.
Years ago.
And she gets pregnant. We don't know by who. And she gives up the baby to an orphanage. That's Saoirse Ronan. And is told, like, I'll pay you money every month. Just raise her right. And, so she's like a little nun. And Gemma Arterton's getting sick. She's in love with this other general guy who's treated her nice. And it's, what's his name? Lee, God,
you're so bad.
I know, it's...
What are they in?
He's in Hackers. Johnny Lee Miller.
Oh, okay.
So he's the asshole one.
It's the Hackers. Johnny Lee Miller. Okay.
And the two generals go to this cliffside where you go in, all these bats fly out, and you're faced with like your duplicate, kind of like in Star Wars on Dagobah, and it attacks you. Yourself attacks yourself, and then you die, and you wake up, and you're a vampire. We never see what's in the cave. We don't know if it's just the bats themselves, a monster. Is it just the mist in the air? We don't know what's turning these people, but this is how you turn into a vampire. It's the only way you could turn into a vampire. And so he becomes one, and he becomes part of like a bigger secret society, and only they choose who becomes a vampire. And women are not allowed to become vampires. And he offers it years later to Johnny Lee Miller. Hey, you're someone who we want in this society. Let's turn you into a vampire, and gives him a map of where to go. Well, Gemma Arterton like shoots him in the leg, steals the map, and she becomes a vampire herself. But when the council people find out, they're like, how dare you? A woman cannot be a vampire. And so she goes on the run. But then she finds out that Johnny Lee Miller is assaulting her daughter. Now that she's grown up, she's like 16. He's going to turn her into a prostitute as well. She's like, I'm not having any of that. And gets her and brings her to the cave and turns her into a vampire. So now it's 200 years later. She's still kind of doing the prostitution thing, seducing men, killing them, taking their stuff. And she's come across one of her Johns is this kind of pathetic dude whose mother just died, but she owned a hotel. And instead of killing this guy and like just robbing him, like, well, maybe we can move in with you. And they start kind of running a brothel, killing hookers pimps, and then taking the hookers to work at the place. And
Smart.
Nate's girlfriend and Ted Lasso, she was one of the hookers. I was looking at her like, I know that. You know the bitchy hostess that eventually falls for him?
Yeah. Okay. Sorry. I was trying to think Nate, but yes.
Yeah.
Got it.
Anywho, and so you have Saoirse Ronan kind of falling for this guy. It's actually not. He's a little aggressive with running into her, and she's just like, okay, that was a nice conversation, bye, and leaves. And then he always keeps showing up, and it's a little creepy. And then she turns on a dime of like, I like you. And then so like she tells him the story of her life, and it gets he brings it to his teachers, and they're worried about her. Like, she says she's a 200-year-old, vampire. How can this be? And, things kind of get out of control, revealing who she is. And the big secret society, they're the cops now. And so they're investigating these people who are dying from these like puncture hole wounds and stuff. It's a very different vampire movie. And it slowly spoon feeds you the story, but it's really interesting and it's different. And I love the actors. And Gemma Arterton is great in pretty much everything. Saoirse Ronan's good too. Like, I don't have any issues with her, but I like Gemma Arterton a lot more. It's just different, and it's not your typical vampire. It's got a lot of the same sort of sexiness that something like an Interview with the Vampire does, which is funny because the director of Interview with the Vampire also did this.
2 vampire movies.
Yeah. He's done quite a few things. And some bad, like he did In Dreams with Annette Bening and Robert Downey Jr., and that movie's just like awful, like really embarrassing.
So where does this rank? I assume it ranks below Daybreakers.
Oh,
so
yeah.
Where does it rank in your?
I don't know if it makes my top 10. Since it's so new, I don't think. Yeah. No movie deserves
top 10 of vampire movies.
Yeah. So I would definitely say top 20. If I had to make that list.
Do you know the year on this? I'm gonna take a guess.
Okay. Yeah, I do.
I honestly have no clue. I'm going to say 2013.
Ooh, 2012.
Damn it.
Steve, so close.
I'm so impressed with myself. If you could have told me 2008, I'd have been like, yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So, Byzantium. Check it out. It's on TV.
Oh, all right.
But I am going to watch Only Lovers Left Alive, like, next. That's my next horror movie.
I have one last question about that movie.
Yeah.
You said women weren't allowed. Did they say why?
No. This definitely feels like something that could be turned into a show, and all these smaller things stretched out. But they just seem like a secret society just to be vampires. They don't seem, besides being cops, and I don't know if they are actually cops or if they are just pretending to be cops. But right. I would think being around that long, you infiltrate all the top things. But it's just kind of hard. How do you be a head cop but you live forever? People are going to start noticing you don't age and things. So I'm not 100% clear of what this secret society does, but it just seems like it's just a boys' club of we get to be vampires, and that's the end of it. All right, what do you got?
I read a physical book, so
three books. From you, one from me. That's book heavy.
Yeah, book heavy. It probably never happen again. But I read Joel McHale's book.
Wait, didn't you talk about this already?
I don't think so. Well, I think maybe I told you I was gonna read it.
Okay.
But I didn't
maybe
talk
not
about the ins and outs because I've only been reading it for the past 4 or 5 days.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
So anyway,
what's it called?
It's called Thanks for the Money. And it's half memoir, half self-help.
Joel
And,
McHale wants to help people? He doesn't seem the type.
well, I say that, but it's basically the whole running joke of this book is kind of, this is a cash grab to get money from you suckers.
Okay.
That's why it's called Thanks for the Money.
Mm-hmm.
And I've read a couple of different comedians' books, like Mark Maron and Pete Holmes, and those books can be funny, not so much the Mark Maron one, but it pretty much is their story, where this one, he's telling, like, this is kind of my journey throughout Hollywood and how I got to be where I am, but I've never read a book where every sentence has some sort of joke in it.
Oh.
It is joke after joke after joke after joke. I'm not saying it's gut-busting hilarious all the way through, but it is pretty well constructed, and especially if you're a fan of Joel McHale and you know how he talks, you can kind of like hear him say this. Like, everything is sarcastic or very quick-witted or just a funny phrase of like how he chooses his words. And there'll be a sentence that might be normal, but there'll be a footnote that you go down, and then at the bottom there's additional jokes to sort of like accentuate what he just said. And there's pages that are just pictures, just like how to survive a Chevy Chase attack. And there's a few pages where it's just alternate covers of like, oh, this is what a book looks like if it's an internet celebrity trying to seem relatable, or a celebrity who's on their an elder celebrity who's trying to make one last buck before they die. And it's really funny and interesting, because you see how he got his start doing just a bunch of commercials and kind of got into the soup, and that led to Community, and Community led to being cast as the dickhead in a bunch of different things. He talks about getting hair transplants. He talks about working with Chevy Chase, and like, that's the chapter that's the least funny, because it's just like, I met my hero and he turned out to be a total fucking dickhead, and here's some things that he said that was like totally inappropriate, and it was like real unfortunate. But it's a real simple, easy read. It's 300 pages, and it doesn't feel like it because they're not long. It's not like word heavy, and because it's scattered with pictures or silly diagrams or joke, whatever, it just, you're breezing through it. I'm reading like 15 to 30 minutes at a time, because this is my at work book read. But if you're a fan of Joel McHale or Community, I highly recommend it, because it's pretty funny. And like I said, it's literally every sentence is a joke, and it's pretty impressive that you can cram this many jokes into a book that's 300 pages long. So I was thoroughly impressed.
Yeah.
I mean, he said he had 2 people help him write this book.
Sure.
And it wasn't, just him.
Yeah. At least he's being honest about it.
Yeah, the book seems honest, or it's just, here's jokes that make it seem more honest than it is. I don't know, but he's led a pretty interesting life, thanks to just a series of circumstances and lucky events. And
can you tell me, like, what was the first thing that got him down this path? Was it like, I was in a Payless shoe store and someone said, hey, you're a handsome kid, you want to model shoes? And then that got him into the industry, or anything like that?
So he was in college and he was a football player, but he wasn't very good at football. And so he kind of was just like, you know what, I'm going to do acting instead. Because I think when he was like in high school or something like that, he was in the plays, and it just made sense to him, and he liked making people laugh. Or he would hang out with the football bros, and he got along with everybody, but they were all just so like meathead aggressive, but he knew how to like make them laugh and kind of thing. And I think it was just, he was kind of bitten by the acting bug in college, and then I think he got an internship or something like that, where I don't know, it got him into a commercial. I don't really remember, but it was just something very small, and he just kept doing commercials. And I think someone saw him do, oh no, he was living in Seattle for a bit after college, and he worked, I think, at a radio station, TV thing or whatever, and then he made friends there, and they were like, hey, this guy's funny, we'll put him on TV. Okay. It was something called like Awesome TV or something. It was just like some local TV sort of like sketch. It was like Saturday Night Live, but for Seattle-based people. And then I think that is the thing that kind of got him the soup.
So he did actually pursue it. He didn't stumble his way.
Yeah. He wasn't standing
or he
around
wasn't
there
just
like, this
handsome
guy's
and
handsome. Yeah.
Okay. All right, that's good.
He worked and got paid really shit money, and through a series of constantly working for a long time, it eventually got him Community. And Community was kind of his big break.
Cool.
Even though he was also bank manager in Spider-Man 2.
Yes, he was. Okay, how many more things? Because we both have our main topic is bottoms, which I didn't mention up top. We're going to talk about One Piece. I have 2 other things, but I could do away with one or do it at another time.
Yeah, I just have One Piece and bottoms.
Okay, so what would you... I'll let you choose. Actually, let's just roll for it. And then if it's 1 through 10, I'll talk about Jerry and Marge Go Large. And if it's 11 through 20, I'll talk about Equalizer 3. How about that?
Okay.
Unless you want to hear about one more than another. Okay. 14, Equalizer it is.
All right.
I'll save Jerry and Marge Go Large for next week, maybe. Yeah, that's why I'm trying to keep it quick. Equalizer 3. It's fine.
I forget, you saw 2 or you did not see 2?
I did not see 2.
Okay.
I don't think it really matters. There is a shot at the very end where Dakota Fanning just like, why are you helping me? You would have made them proud. And then it shows a picture of like Bill Pullman and someone else. And it's like, oh, okay, I guess they were in another
might have been the
episode.
first one.
May have been the first one. Could have been the second one. I have no idea. That's like seems to be the only connection to the other ones. So it is very standalone. I wasn't confused about... Well, I was confused about one little thing I'll get into. This movie's fine. It's kind of boring. There's only 2 major action sequences. One at the very beginning. Okay, let's say 2.5. There's one at the beginning, one in the middle that's real quick, and then the big one at the end. And the one at the end, say he kills 15 people in all interesting kind of fun ways, but they happen in such rapid succession, they don't sit with you. Mm-hmm. And so you have this huge chunk in the middle that's just not very interesting. And it's him bonding with the people of the town, learning the locals, and just kind of becoming one with them. So he, in the very beginning, he goes to this very a remote winery where this evil, bad not warlord, but like drug kingpin is running, and everybody's dead. And he's sitting in the room with 2 guys with guns on it, and the big boss comes in like, hey, how did you find us? Hey, how'd you even know who I was? And, he does his 9-second spiel and kills all the guys real quick. Well, he was there because he was helping some rando, which may have been in another one. It's just something at the end. Some rando got his pension stolen from some cyber scam. And so he's like, I guess I'll investigate that. And it led to this, oh shit, where are they? In Italy?
Yeah, it's Italy, right?
Yeah. And leads to this vineyard where this guy has been doing cyber crimes, but now he's also doing big drug deals. He's getting into that business. And so he, like, once he finds that out, he gives the information to Dakota Fanning, like, hey, go investigate this thing. I'm going to go visit with the townsfolk. One cool death at the very beginning there. He takes a guy's gun and he like twists it and then he shoves it into his eye and blows his brains out and then shoots another guy with the gun still in that guy's head.
Nice.
Pretty cool. So yeah, he just sits around, drinks.
Bet he didn't see that coming.
Oh!
Pretty mind-blowing.
Yeah.
There it is.
So he's just sitting around, and it's kind of annoying. He's like, hey, he's at a little cafe, can I get a tea? And they come and bring him a coffee and go like, tea is for old ladies. Like, you're a restaurant. I ordered tea. Don't bring me this other shit. Like, who the fuck do you think you are? I saw...
if I order pizza, don't bring me spaghetti because pizza's for young kids.
Yeah.
I want a fucking pizza, bro.
I saw a guy, he was in, like, France or Italy, and he just was He was doing it on purpose, but like he was eating spaghetti, and instead of like twirling it properly, he'd get a big scoop of it and then take scissors and cut all the stuff. And the waiter came up to him saying, "You need to knock that off or we're going to kick you out." You know, he's putting ketchup on some steak or something and people are fucking flipping out. I'm like, hey, shut up. I can eat whatever I want. You don't get to tell me how I eat my food. I hate that about certain fancy places. It's very, very snobbish. Anywho, so I'm assuming it's the sons of that big drug lord that got killed. They're pushing this drug. It's this drug from the Middle East. It's some terrorist organization. They don't specifically say like ISIS or the Taliban or anything. And it's this kind of pill that jacks you up and it lets their quote unquote freedom fighters, go fight harder and longer because they're just all hopped up on drugs. And so they're selling it and it's funding terrorism. But I don't get why. I know it's just to make money. But there's a point where there's a train explosion and it's the mafia guys did it. And they're like, oh, they'll think that it was this terrorist organization. Like, hey, Franco, why'd you do that? Those are some of our own people. Like, oh, it's to take their eyes off of me. I'm like, did anybody know it was you? I'm not 100% sure why he did it in the first place. Like, they constantly seem to want to rough up the townspeople, put them under his boot so they can start opening up, like, hotels and casinos because we're going to own this little town and it's going to be our big commercial success. I don't know how terrorism plays into that. So that's one of the main problems. I think if they just simplified the story that they're bringing drugs into this small town, whatever happened, Denzel fucked up their house and their operation there. Now they had to move it to this small town. And it just so happens Denzel's there as well. And he's seeing, the local waitress that he's falling in love with, her son, he's acting a little screwy. He's running with the wrong crowd and he's trying this drug. And, oh no, I love these people in this town. You can't peddle your poison here, and stops drug dealers. It's just needed to be as simple as that.
Yeah.
But the addition of terrorism is just very confusing. And then, he stops him. He kills one of the brothers. So the older brother is just like, I'm going to drag people in the streets and murder them. And one of the things I really liked, so he drags this cop and like, I want the guy who killed my brother, and Denzel emerges from the shadow and like, leave these people alone. If you want me, you could have me. But then all the villagers start pulling out guns too. And, doing that Spider-Man, you want one of us.
I wanted to do it, but I won't say it.
And so the bad guy's just like, oh, you opened up a whole lot of hurt. I'm going to come back with an army and you're all fucking dead. Yes?
I was going to say, you'd all be eating spaghetti in Pelican Bay if it wasn't for me. Training Day? Never mind. Different Denzel movie. Okay. Didn't work.
Sorry.
You never saw Training Day?
No, I saw Training Day. I just don't remember that quote. It's King Kong's got nothing on me.
Yeah, well, it's Pelican Bay leads into King. It's in the same speech.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Take your word on that. So normally, he says, I'm going to come back with an army, and then the town would rally. We got to fortify ourselves because in 3 days' time, he's going to come with the biggest army. But Denzel just like that same night goes to this man's house and just like murders all of his people, and while this dude is sleeping. Nice. It's really smart. It's like, don't wait for them to regroup and get more firepower. And then he kills the bad guys and he
equalizes.
He equalizes the whole situation. I'm seeing a lot more praise for this than I thought I would, but I just don't think I'm a Denzel fan. He's not good in this, and it's my bias. I think he does too much. He's trying to be subtle and like kind of carefree, like he's not acting, but he's constantly like touching stuff and straightening things, and it's supposed to feel natural, like he's just doing his own thing. But I feel he's making this choice of, I got to make sure I do all these quirky little things to seem like I'm not doing quirky little things, that it's just my mannerisms. And I laughed a couple of times that they would cut to his face and he's looking dead in the camera because he does this like lip thing where half his lip is like covered by his top lip and it looks like he's had a stroke, but it's supposed to be his like mean guy face. And I don't buy it. He's almost 70 years old. I don't buy the action hero thing, but it's not really an action movie. He's more of a supernatural serial killer or something who just like appears out of the shadows and garrots a guy. There's a couple of like quick hand-to-hand things to disarm people, but he's not doing high kicks or jumping over fences.
He's not John Wick.
He's not John Wick. Yeah. He's not even Taken. He's just Equalizer.
Well, I feel like maybe you could compare the first Equalizer and the first Taken, but maybe you can't. Now we're comparing Equalizer 3 to Taken 3 or something. I don't remember Taken 2 or 3.
I remember 2. I don't remember Taken 3
but
at all.
My point is just like you have a good first entry and then you just have a bunch of shitty sequels that are just there to make money. But as to you're not a Denzel fan, I mean, maybe you're just not seeing the right Denzel movies because all the like stuff that he's kind of known for, I think is good. I think he's one of our great actors.
And that's
but then the stuff that's kind of, I don't even want to say popular because a lot of his Oscar-nominated stuff has been popular. But Equalizer 3 I don't think is Denzel material.
I don't know. I watched Man on Fire and I haven't seen Fences, but I'm sure I'm going to get the same sort of feeling. I just think he's fine, but he does too much to seem like he's doing little. And I wish he would. Have you ever seen Jamie Foxx do the Denzel impersonation in front of Denzel?
Yeah.
Okay. I feel that is the most accurate impersonation because he does these weird little lip quivers and it's I wish people not that he needs acting lessons, but he would work with a director who could direct him more of, bigger, smaller, don't do that. It seems like, well, Denzel's just the greatest actor of our generation. You better not give him notes. You just let him do his own thing. And he's done that year after year after year. And now he thinks anything he does is good and it all gets left in. And so he doesn't need to evolve.
Interesting take.
And it's probably a hot take. Yeah, it's probably a dog shit take for most people, but I don't know. Give me a list of like the top 5. I'm not saying now, but give me a list of the best Denzel performances. I'll watch those movies and I'll come back and see if like, well, you're right. But I can see things in this that I see in Training Day. Like at least he's almost kind of.
I mean, Training Day is kind of like peak Denzel. Like that's
and I like that movie and I think he is good in it. And he's a lot more animated in that. And in this, he's sleepy. This is sleepy Denzel. So I want to maybe Devil in a Blue Dress. He's great in that. I don't know. But from what I've seen, I just don't care for him.
I mean, I think my favorite performance of his is in The Hurricane. But it's been a long time since I've seen
The Hurricane. Is that a football movie?
No.
Is it about a hurricane?
No.
Is it about a hurricane of footballs?
No.
No. Is it boxing?
Yeah, that's an element to it.
Okay. Is this old?
In the 90s.
Oh, okay. This is early Denzel. This is like...
Not like super young. Like he'd been in the game for a while.
Oh, yeah. He'd be 40 in the 90s. Or 40 in the 90s. So...
Oh, really? Damn.
Yeah. So it'd be like he's been around forever, but this is when he's getting his, people are noticing.
That's what
him.
it is.
What about John Q? Is that a good one? His kids in the hospital?
No, I'm pretty sure I've seen John Q all the way through, but it was so long ago I could tell you. I think he's fine in that movie from what I remember.
Like, I want to see him do something crazy. Like, has he ever been in a space movie, a sci-fi movie? And not as, like, the president as an asteroid coming. Like, commander of the Argonaut that's going to plunge into the sun to reignite the dragon egg or something. I want something crazy, Like a fantasy. No, don't put him in fantasy. I don't think he could do it. But, like, what about a vampire Denzel? That'd be kind of cool. Can he do that? Or is it just, like, broken man who's going to monologue and tell you all the things that the audience wants to hear?
So Glory's a pretty good movie, but that's not really a Denzel movie so much. That was like super early.
I need top billing It's a Denzel movie. So that's your assignment for next week. You're going to just find me 5 movies that are his best acting performances. Whether he's won an award for them or not. That doesn't matter to me.
All right.
All right. We only a few things left. We both started One Piece, the Netflix live-action anime adaptation. Live-action adaptation of an anime? Whatever.
Yeah. And I may have even said on this podcast that I had no intention of watching it because I think it looks bad.
We were making fun of the trailer.
Yeah. And I stand by my original statement. The only reason I watched it is because I heard nothing but great things, or at least maybe not great things, but just the reviews have come in. Everyone's like, yeah,
it's not the piece of shit you thought it was.
Yeah, this is actually pretty good, and it was just something I needed to put something on the TV that I could just like. I don't give a shit about this. I'll just kind of watch it as whatever. So that's why I tuned in for the first 2 episodes.
Yeah, I was unsure. And once you said that you watched it, it's like, okay, I'll watch it too. At least it's something we both can watch, or we can both talk about. And our buddy Nick said, he's like, oh, I'm like 3 episodes in, and I'm into it so far. I'm like, okay, fine. I'll give it a shot. I don't know anything about this anime. All I knew was he was a stretchy guy, and it was pirates. But that's about it. And I wasn't even sure if the stretchy thing was just like a weird anime quirk or if it was actual superpower, like it was an explained thing, or if it was just like, no, we're showing how exaggerated this punch is. Look how much he winds back for it.
Yeah.
Not, he's literally Mr. Fantastic.
And for me, I haven't read it. I've seen 10 episodes, but it was 10 episodes, 120 episodes into the series. I was at a buddy's house and just had it on. And so I know it wasn't maybe proper context of the story because I'm jumping in the middle of an arc and I'm just like, what the fuck is going on? But One Piece has never had appeal to me. Anyway, here we are.
Yeah, and I'm not a fan of anything that has like 1,000+ episodes. I'm purposely not getting into that.
On the show, so.
I'm never going to do that. So, first initial thoughts?
I don't really care for it.
Yeah?
It's not for me. I think I can see why people like it. I think I will admit there is kind of a charm to it, but I think that charm is just because it seems like it's made by fans, both on the screen and behind the screen. And I think because it looks kind of like an expensive fan-made film, it's kind of like, oh, this is nice. If someone released this as fully funded by fans and we really wanted to bring One Piece, you'd be like, oh, this is actually pretty cool. They did a good job. They brought in these elements. They maybe expand on this a little bit. But in terms of we're adapting this franchise that everyone loves and we're bringing it to, the silver screen, it looks cheap to me.
Which is crazy because it's $100 million per episode.
Which is my problem. This is an expensive show.
Yeah.
Netflix is not a small studio. Like, Netflix makes big shit, and they keep buying up these properties because they know people will tune in, and it seems like they don't care if it's good. This is the first one that just happens to be resonating in terms of anime adaptations. But I don't see, and just from 2 episodes, what all the hype is really about, because I think the fighting isn't all that interesting. I appreciate that he has superpowers, and I would say that his stretchy powers don't look horrendous, but they're not like great.
They're not perfect. They're not Elastigirl,
But Elastigirl has the benefit of being a cartoon.
Yes.
Where, this is...
We haven't done stretchy humans right yet.
Yeah. Our only other option, I think, is Mr. Fantastic in the first...
Pretty much.
In the Fantastic Four movies. But it both doesn't look bad, but it doesn't look great. And for people who are fans of the anime, where they're doing crazy action sequences, and there's stuff going on right now, because now that I've looked up One Piece clips are popping up in my YouTube feed. He's fighting massive-sized dragons while riding lightning bolts. Like, how the fuck... if you get this far, are you going to do that shit? How's that going to look?
Maybe
Are you going to go, well, now the show's popular, so we have more money, so we can do these things? Like, there's nothing really too anime about this show. And then you go, okay, well, it's two different mediums. If you want the anime, just watch the anime. This is the live action version.
Yeah.
We want it to be a little different, and that's great. I like pirates. I like superpowers. Should be a home run.
Mm-hmm.
But this story has no real interest to me. I think the characters aren't all that interesting because they're all, at least so far, just kind of one note. I know.
And we have to say, we only watched the first 2 episodes.
Grain of salt. I fully admit that. But Zoro's a fan favorite. It's a dude who carries 3 swords and puts one in his mouth. That's fucking cool.
Yeah.
But he's the brooding guy. He's not.
But he has some funny lines. Like he's up on that wheel and he's having the knives thrown at you, and they're like, "Wow, you really don't fear death." I'm like, no, I just don't fear you. Like he's got some good lines.
Okay, fair enough. But everything I watched of it just seems either this is fine or this just looks bad, or I think there is some sort of weak dialogue from time to time, and the main Marine villain character, tough looking British type guy,
with the iron jaw.
No.
His son. The one that is above him.
Yeah. The guy who seems to be leading it all.
Who caught the pirate at the very beginning, right? That guy. Who executed the guy who had the One Piece.
I don't know. It just feels like he has no idea what fucking show he's in. And I mean, he's doing the part fine. I'm not attacking his acting abilities. It just seems like
is he taking it too serious and everyone else is having more fun?
It doesn't feel right to me. And I think the pink-haired, big glass dweeb guy in the first episode is just awful. Not his acting, but just that type of character I kind of hate. Yeah. And so, just a dweeby little door. And people who wear glasses with no frames in them just drive me crazy.
You mean frames with no lenses?
Yes, thank you. Sorry.
Glasses with no frames. They're just 2 monocles. You gotta squint to keep them up.
And I know that's just a very nitpicky, dumb thing, but I don't know. There's just some things I just can't get into. Okay. But I hope you like it. What are your thoughts?
I'm kind of into it. Okay. I kind of enjoy it. I think the lead, Luffy, is really his
enthusiasm.
I think his enthusiasm is really infectious, and it's almost to a point of annoying. I think you take any one line that he says and just watch it, you'd go, ew, what a stupid over-the-top acting experience I'm seeing. Yeah. But I think it works in the context of the show. I like that he's able to just kind of bumble his way through everything. He's like a Mr. Magoo or a Jack Sparrow type where what do I got to do? I'm going to go get the One Piece. Well, how are you going to do it? Well, what's the first thing I got to do? I got to get a boat. Okay, let's go get a boat. And he's just headstrong and will do anything to just reach his goal with a smile on his face. I just find him really fun. And the other characters are fine. Girl, swords, clown, they're all just fine. And what a weird clown character. Second episode, you have this clown that could dismember itself and fight. And it just seems kind of normal. I'm already kind of into the world of One Piece that I wasn't.
Yeah, I've only seen 2 people with superpowers.
Yeah, but it's explained enough that it's you eat the fruit and you get a thing. And it's such a weird world. The snails. The snails are telephones and microphones and stuff. What is that? It's so bizarre. Never explained, or at least not explained so far, but it's a very strange world. And I'm enjoying how weird it is. And everybody's just kind of giving it all and having a good time. I will say it does look cheap. I think the actors are good. And from what I've seen of characters, they look pretty close to their counterparts. But everything just does feel like a really simple set that is, if you're making a Pirates of the Caribbean, you're at a level 5 of realism. And this is more like a 2. Yeah. It's good enough for a background if you're taking a family photo at like a fake pirate cove. Let's go to the pirate bar, and you could take a picture there. It's about that quality. And I don't ever believe they're ever on water, things like that.
Sure.
But you get giant sea monsters and stuff. And there's a lot of weird big ideas, like this clown pirate who captures his people and forces them to like clap at his performances. I don't know. I'm just kind of into this weird kooky show.
Okay. I mean, to go back to your Luffy thing, I love characters who are happy-go-lucky. I hate just bummer downer characters. I like the character who comes in and sort of uplifts everybody and just has a positive attitude. But I also need that to kind of like come from somewhere.
Okay.
Versus just, aren't I adorable because I just like to smile and stuff? But
because we see him as a kid and
who has an American accent, and then his adult version has a Mexican accent. That doesn't make much sense, but fine, whatever.
But as a kid, he's more dark and brooding, and will do whatever it takes to be a pirate. And his actions get his best friend's arm bitten off, and which I have a problem with that scene, but I'll let you finish. And so, like, he had a lot of like bad shit happen to him. But then when we cut to the future, he is so exuberant. So I'm sure we will see in the coming episodes this transition. I can't see him just going, okay, time to set out on my own. And then cranks on the smile and is faking it the whole time. Yeah. So we'll see it.
Yeah, I'm not saying, he doesn't have room to grow or I hate the character. It's just, of the three main people, he's probably my least favorite so far. Although I do like his upbeat attitude versus the two people who are like, we're not a crew. Just so far, he hasn't really done much for me. But what was I going to say? I want to talk about that scene with the kid. So this dickhead pirate guy comes to this bar, starts trouble with Shanks and his crew. Shanks and his crew beat up this guy, and then he kidnaps a kid and just decides to row him out to the middle of the ocean to get to his boat that was not anywhere nearby. I mean, they're like in the middle of the fucking ocean. Yeah. You can't even see the coastline, I think. Yeah. And that just seemed like... So he was just rowing out there for a long time. Okay. And then he throws the kid overboard, and because he ate this fruit, the deal with the devil fruit or whatever is, you eat this fruit, you're a pirate, but you can't swim. And so he throws him overboard, I guess to kill him or whatever. And then Shanks is there. There wasn't a boat nearby. He came out of fucking nowhere and saved this kid.
Yeah.
How did he get there?
I don't know. I don't have answers for you.
And I don't think we do get a hint that he has some sort of ability.
Yeah.
But I think this is just one of those things where don't fucking worry about it. Yeah. He's just in the boat.
He was there.
That shit drives me crazy.
Yeah. He was holding on to a rope and he was underwater the whole time. Who cares? Yeah. Don't worry about it. That's not the point of the scene. Let's move on.
Yeah. I mean, I do like that there's sea monsters, and I like that there's power, and I like the show is weird and is embracing the weird. I just don't think, at least so far from these two episodes, the weird has engaged me in a way where like I need to see what happens next, because I don't know if I care enough. And this is just going from someone who's seen bits of the anime this show is so fucking weird. Yeah. And it's been on for 26 years, I think.
Crazy.
1997, I don't know if I'm doing the math right, but 1997 was the first appearance of Luffy. And I was just like, look, I mean, just for my own personal information, how far are they to getting to the One Piece? And from first episode to now, essentially no closer to getting to the One Piece.
Really?
Yeah. From the limited research I've done, it seems like the show or the manga could end within the next 5 or 6 years. It is sort of getting to a point where like we may be wrapping up, but we've got some whatever. But to go on for 30 years, and the information you get in episode 1, we need to get to the Grand Line to get to I don't know if whatever. There's a little bit of information. The One Piece is this. They know it relatively early on. It's at this place. And they've been going there for 26 years, Ben. And they just keep going to different islands, running to different weird pirates that they gotta beat up. And it just seems like, I don't know, how much of this world is just fucking pirates? And they say in the first episode, it's the age of the pirates. Yeah. So there's a bunch of pirates. How many fucking people can you rob?
Yeah.
It's just...
Pirates robbing pirates, man.
I just need to know more about this world, and I guess I would get that if I watched more episodes. I don't want to say this show is shit because I want to give it a fair shot. I'll probably watch all the other ones just to talk to you about it. But in terms of adaptations, I don't get the hype behind. It's like it's breaking the anime curse or whatever. I see. I think there's other animes you could do better.
Well, it seems like some of the obvious things that you can remake and do live action, they've been failing at. Death Note is one that is considered a failure. I like the American Death Note. I think it's its own adaptation. You're not adapting that story. You're taking that idea and making it for an American audience, so I understand why it's different.
But you're also taking that long series and condensing it into a 1 hour movie.
Yeah.
Or not a 1 hour movie, sorry.
Damn.
A 2.5 hour movie.
Yeah.
Where if they did Death Note but a series, it might work.
But I don't think
if
it
they
needs
do
to
Monster
be...
and make it a series. I haven't seen the movie version and made the movie version.
It's changed enough where you don't need every little thing. It boiled down to its main stuff of someone's using the Death Note to kill people. There's a detective on his ass, and that's it. You can cut out a lot of the fluff. And in the American one, it's more what's the woman, Mitsu something. She's
Misa.
Yeah, she's not the dumb moron she is in the anime. She actually is more gung ho about using the Death Note.
She's Michelle or whatever.
No, what did they?
It doesn't matter.
It's a similar
but
name.
To most people, what I'm saying is that adaptation
is
failed.
Yes. You look at Ghost in the Shell, and it's like, wow, this should be so easy to do, but it still kind of failed. This is probably the one that does kind of break the curse, because regardless if you like it or not, it's successful in its adaptation. Whether you like that story, those characters, that's on you. But they've done their job and done their homework because they worked with the creators of One Piece to make it as close as possible. So I get why someone would say that. It is successful in the adaptation. You just don't like this. You just don't like whatever it is. You know, they can adapt a book that you don't like, and then you don't like the movie version. Well, that adaptation was a really good, faithful adaptation of the book. You just don't like that story, or you just don't care for those characters. So it may not be the mold-breaking thing for you, but I can see industry-wise, yes, it probably is.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just... I guess my thing is, obviously you can't do everything you do in anime, and that's fine. We've seen, like, how do you adapt Dragon Ball Z to a live action? And
you don't.
They tried, but I mean, One Piece and Dragon Ball Z are very similar in the fact that they've both been on for over 25 years. Mm-hmm. And I think Dragon Ball has technically been around since the 80s in different versions. And they both essentially have characters who keep getting to a new level. Their character looks different. They have new powers. They defeat bigger, badder villains, and the process keeps repeating itself. So I'd be interested as to how you take something like that and make it interesting. And
you set them in high school and make them fight bullies.
Because I mean, Dragon Ball Evolution, the one we won't talk about because it's like the Voldemort of adaptation. But it was just something so hard to adapt, but you adapted it because it was popular. Mm-hmm. And so this one,
but they weren't faithful to it at all. Whereas they're being faithful to One Piece.
Sure. I don't know where I was going with that. Point is, if they can pull it off and people like this, I'm all happy for them, and that's great. And I would love to be proven wrong, but it's not what I would want. But I'm not also a One Piece fan in general, so I can go in blind and hopefully be impressed by stuff because I don't have a lot of context to the show. But if they pull it off, it'll be wild to me just because of the stuff that I have seen from the show and will continue to do. So we'll see. All
right, moving on.
Sure.
All right, let's get to our main topic.
We've been talking way longer than I thought we were.
Yeah, we're at 1:30.
All right.
All right, so Bottoms is directed by Emma Seligman and co-written with its main star Rachel Sinnott. It is a story of two. It's a story you've seen many times before. It's a
Two
a book
lesbian
smart
versions.
it's a super bad. It's a book smart. It's two lesbian high school girls looking to get into the pants of their big crushes. So they decide to concoct a huge lie to worm their way into their beds, and then of course that lie is exposed and is blown up in their face. The friends fall out, come back together for a final thing, and everybody's hunky-dory at the end. You've seen this movie a million times before, and that's Bottoms. So like I said, it's directed by Emma Seligman. She did Shiva Baby, which also stars Rachel Sinnott, who plays PJ in this, who I had only really known from Bodies, Bodies, Bodies.
And I've only seen her in the first 2 episodes of The Idol, which
She is in the... Yeah, it's on my DVR. It's like those 5 up. But I kind of am interested in how bad it really is, because apparently it's one of the worst things HBO's ever produced, and they definitely canceled any sort of season 2.
Yep.
Our other co-star is Ayo Edebiri. I think that's how you say it. Who is having a fucking killer year.
Yep.
She plays Josie. She's April O'Neil in the new Turtles movie. She was Harriet Tubman in Clone High. She's on The Bear. She's one of the voices in Spider-Verse.
Big Mouth.
She's in Big Mouth. She's in Theater Camp, History of the World Part 2. Very, very big year, and we're only part of the way through of the year. So she's killing it. She's our Michael Cera character in this. And then I'd say the third is Ruby Cruz, who plays Hazel, who I don't know her from anything.
I know her from the Willow series.
Yes, that's the only thing she's been in, but I didn't recognize her from that. I just kept looking at her and go like, remember, that's not Mary Elizabeth Winstead.
Okay.
She's very similar to that.
Fair enough. Okay, I can see that.
Our other, I'd say the 2 other co-stars are the objects of their desire. We have Havana Rose Liu, or Liu, I'm not sure how you pronounce it, as Isabel. The only thing I knew her from was No Exit, a Hulu movie about like a body in a...
First time I've seen her, I think.
Yeah, very pretty girl. And then the other one is...
Kaya
Gerber.
Yep.
Who I had to tell myself is not Sophia Bush. But she's playing Brittany, and this is Cindy Crawford's daughter. I
can see that now.
Absolutely, 100%. Yeah. I'm like, wow. So, Steve, I know I already did give a synopsis, but like, what'd you feel about Bottoms? And I'm not talking about feeling Bottoms.
I think I would not be surprised if Bottoms is in my top 10.
Oh!
I really liked Bottoms. I thought it was a fun, different take on the high school virgin comedy movies. Mm-hmm. It's still, like you said, very formulaic. And I do have issues with this movie because it is ridiculous at a lot of times. It makes zero sense at times. But I thought the cast was just a ton of fun. Yeah. And there was a lot of points that made me laugh. And it was, more violent than I expected.
You think? Jeez.
And I liked the concept of a female fight club at school. I thought that was pretty fun. I think your 2 leads are stars clearly in the making. Yeah. Especially Ayo.
What a great name.
Yeah.
It's just, Ayo!
I'm sure she gets that all the time. She's like, yeah. And I just had a ton of fun with this movie. We'll get into it. I think let's tell me the things that you liked, and then I'll get into things I have issues with.
I liked their friendship. It felt real. Usually in these sort of things, you have the more vulgar and brash one, and then you have the more shy, reserved. but I think it works. I believe that these two kind of found each other early in life and really just kind of stuck with each other.
Do you know their backstory? Because I do.
They were roommates in college,
there you go,
which great. That's awesome.
I also looked at. I don't know if they were necessarily friends with the director, but the director is close to age of them and also went to NYU, so they might have been. So it was just perfect melding of the three, and they're like, let's make a movie, which is like, crazy how young they are. And they're like, we wrote and directed a movie, and it's out now.
Yeah,
and it's
you got Conan
98%
O'Brien
on Rotten Tomatoes.
Conan O'Brien is rooming with Greg
Daniels.
Was it Greg Daniels?
No, they both wrote on.
Well, it was like Bob Odenkirk and all them. Like, we just happened to be roommates in college, and then
pretty much anyone in comedy in the '90s were all friends.
They were all friends, yeah.
Conan and all them, they're all in the same.
So things I liked all the characters, especially the side characters that don't get a lot. I liked Hazel, the McLovin character of this, just not quite in the group and is constantly shit on. I liked the one she looked like the babysitter from Incredibles, the one that was just like constantly screaming. And
she was my least favorite of the group.
I thought she was fun.
I didn't dislike her, but
I would say my least favorite of the group was the third hot one when they were doing like the car modeling thing.
Oh yeah.
That character just felt really out of place. Like, you already have the two really pretty girls, and now you have one that's a car model as well. It just felt unnecessary. It reminded me a bit of Pitch Perfect or Bring It On, where you have this ensemble group of women and they all have their own individual personalities. I just wish it was more of that. I think they needed to work on the whole Fight Club aspect. Either they make it an actual Fight Club where they can just get out their aggressions of being women in this world and being harassed, or you lean into the actual self-defense side of it. And that's where Marshawn Lynch could have helped with that. And like, oh, look, they're even able to take down this big dude. They're actually learning stuff. It doesn't know which way to focus. And it's one of those stories where they tell a lie and they have to keep up the lie. And it can easily, it could have easily been handled with like, a couple minutes of thinking of what to say before you start the whole club. They should have all been able to see through that this is not, they don't know what the fuck they're doing. So I kind of wish it was just a straight Fight Club. And these people who are maybe on edge from being the smartest one in school just wants to get their frustration out. Or I think better is you lean into the self-defense and have it be that the other school that apparently murders one of their rival school football players once every time that they come together, like, you make those guys the true bad guys that take school spirit a little too far, and that they have been harassed and they need to make sure that they're protecting themselves. I think a little bit of reality could have helped this movie, because it goes to almost, I don't want to say Kung Fu Hustle levels of cartoonery, but it gets to a point where it's like Wet Hot American Summer, where this isn't real life, this is parody.
It rode that line, I think, mostly pretty well in terms of realistic and then cartoonish. And I think a lot of comedy came from that. And I don't think there's a bad performance in it. And I think it's weird that if this movie came out a year prior, the biggest name in this movie, I mean, kind of still is Marshawn Lynch.
Yeah.
A football player from the Seattle Seahawks.
But he's been having a great career of just
popping
being a goofy dude.
Yeah. And he was on Murderville.
Yeah.
Brooklyn not necessarily 99. The best actor, but I don't dislike seeing him. And I don't think he was bad in this.
Yeah.
But I guess Ayo would be the biggest name, or maybe Kaya Gerber. Maybe she's got like a big Instagram following. I don't fucking know.
Yeah. For projects under her belt, it's definitely Ayo.
Yeah. But anyway, the big crux of the story is these two basically hit the star football player the slightest bit and hurt him before a month before the big game against Huntington, whatever.
It makes sense if it was Huntington.
Their rival school that, like you said, which you don't find out till near the end, but they murder someone every 20 years and they play this school. But they injure him, they get put on the school's radar, and then the lie is they both went to juvie over the summer. And that gives them street cred in the school, and girls are looking at them now, and they're like, all right, well, now they were going to get expelled, so we're going to start a fight club. Cause that's what we were doing. That's why he got injured, because we were practicing for our fight club. And the principal was like, sure, okay, we'll have a fight club. And this is where the first part was like, okay, what school is authorized? Well, they say it's a self-defense club. Which I guess is fine. I'd be surprised that a principal would sign off on it, but I don't know. It's been a while since I've been in high school. And then they start this club, and they're just literally beating each other up.
They're just pushing each other around. They're not learning anything.
There is a montage, and they're kind of training, but you don't really see them practice any moves. You don't see any move that they learn in the fight club that they use later in the movie. There's no... you have the Hazel character who is, you guys want to do the boxing element? I'll do the taekwondo. But you never see her really use taekwondo. There should have been... It didn't... Like you said, the go-to would have been Marshawn Lynch, but even if Hazel was a character who was actually training everybody, but it was PJ and Josie who were running the show, that's fine. And then Hazel can have, when they do that breakup moment, it's like, I've been running your club. I've been teaching everyone how to fight. You guys haven't done anything. Shit. But that moment might have hit a little bit more.
Sure.
Because it's really just, all right, girls, swing and kick at each other until we get black eyes and stuff. But
is that kind of maybe the point of, like, they didn't learn anything, so when it comes to the end and they start murdering everyone, it's because they didn't learn anything. They just learned to be as violent as possible, and it ended up in this bloodbath.
I think that's very, very thin.
Yeah, and I agree, because I think if they were trying to do this is self-defense, because the whole point of them doing this is, one, not to get kicked out of school, but they're trying to perv on their crushes. So if they were doing things like, look what happens when you get into this hold, and they're getting behind them and touching them and putting them in positions that just so they can, like, cop a feel, that makes sense. And then you have the Hazel character showing them the real deal, but it's just them punching each other. I don't. A little realism in this part could have really helped.
Right. And so you also have the star quarterback player is fine, and I honestly I love this character.
He's great. He's straight out of Barbie.
Him and his buddy character. They're such both perfect fucking douchebags. But Jeff was his name, and I like on the back of his jersey it just said Jeff. It wasn't his last name. It wasn't his last name. And they have all these signs all over the school that say "Let's go Jeff," not "Let's go team." But then the posters
get horny for football or whatever.
But the posters of Jeff are him in a thong essentially, and just being all ripped and stuff. It's just everything about the school is inappropriate and wouldn't happen in a real school. Also, there seems to be one teacher and the principal. You don't see any other
Anybody
teachers.
Else.
It's just Marshawn Lynch and then the principal. That's it.
There's one poster I really liked, and it said, it was pretty much smile more. He'll notice you. He'll notice you if you do. It's just like these. It almost feels like 30 Rock. That it's such absurdist sort of comedy, but then other times it's very grounded in reality, and then they're planting fucking bombs.
You have Hazel, who is not once but twice plants a bomb in this movie, and it's just like, they're not hard to make, and shouldn't you guys be concerned at all that this character knows how to make a bomb and is using them? And then they make a joke about someone wanting to blow up the school. Who looks like your typical black leather jacket, scraggly, like is the Columbine-esque, like how you imagine he's the guy from Christian Slater and Heathers.
Yes.
He's that character. And
I'm
it's
surprised
like,
that joke made it into the movie, because just joking about blowing up the school is not very, PC.
But I mean, that's what I kind of appreciate. I don't think this movie goes far enough into, because it is kind of like a teen sex comedy, but there isn't really any sex in it. There's nothing too sexy about it.
It's pretty graphic in their dialogue, but you don't really see much.
One of my, in terms of sexiness, quote unquote, one of my favorite jokes is, all right, guys, we're going to start the pep rally. First up, the cheerleaders. And they all get in line like they're about to do a dance, and they just pour water on one girl and do like a wet t-shirt, and that's it.
And they're just like, yeah, cheerleaders.
I thought that was really funny.
Yes.
And what was I saying before? They don't
bombs and you like the two football guys.
The two football guys. Just how douchey they were. I thought they were a lot of fun. Very villainous, but also at the same time, like they ended up just being cool at the end. I really feel like they didn't really get their comeuppance for being kind of the main villains of the movie, even though Huntington was still the villain. You didn't see Huntington until the last 10 minutes of the movie, and they were essentially the fucking Chitauri. They're just essentially faceless football player dudes. Another joke I really liked in this movie, you never saw the football players in normal clothes. They were always in class
with their pads and everything.
Pads. Yes. It's just they lived in those clothes, and that's all that mattered, was just football.
Because that's all they were.
So I think there's some really clever stuff, and it's heightened reality in this school. And so eventually at the later part of the movie, the girl of Josie's crush breaks up with douchebag quarterback guy. They end up having sex, and it works out for Josie. Josie's happy. PJ tries to get with Kaya Gerber. She's like, hey, I'm straight. She's like, oh, that's a bummer. And then the club disbands because the
truth of their reasoning to start this group is revealed.
Well, I think they break up because everyone realizes that they're the ones who planned the bomb in the car.
No, because they're at the pep rally with the cheerleaders getting wet, and the football player's friend says they never went to juvie, and they only wanted to do it to attract girls. Yeah,
but Hazel, they said the club's over. PJ yelled at Hazel. Hazel told them, and then that led to the pep rally where they were like,
"That's true." Okay,
yeah, that's when they
sure.
They were disbanding.
Yeah,
doesn't matter.
Right. No, you're right.
But then we have this scene where, so they all, break up. Josie and PJ yell at each other because, you're upset because you didn't get what you wanted, so you're taking it out on all of us. And it's like, well, you started this when you told everyone we went to juvie and all this. So just girlfriend breakup stuff.
Yeah. You always got to have the moment in the movie where the two leads break apart and then come back together in the end.
And then go to the pep rally. And Hazel has to fight a gorilla man. And by gorilla man, I don't mean like a man in a gorilla suit. I just mean a very big...
The biggest high schooler ever.
High school of all time. And this is another moment where I'm just like, what the fuck is this? How is this school allowing this pep rally? Like, we're going to have just a full-blown fight for everyone's entertainment.
She gets kicked in the face by a guy with cleats on.
No, he wasn't wearing shoes at all.
He wasn't?
No.
Okay.
He just... kicked her in the face.
Just kicked her in the face.
While she was down.
And this isn't a comedy fight. She was bleeding afterwards.
Blood everywhere. And once again, because there is only one teacher, one principal, at no point do they stop it. Nope. At no point do any of the other people watching this go like, hey, maybe we should break this up because this is a small girl getting... she put up a pretty good fight, but she got really brutally beaten by this dude, and they were always like, well, pep rally's over, and everyone just fucking goes home. It's like, no one's like freaking out that they just watched. They just watched a vicious assault and battery. Anyway, so that part was a little silly to me. And then we have, the big breakup or whatever. AO goes to see their childhood mentor who babysat them.
Yeah.
We get like a brief mention. And they run into Punky Johnson, who from SNL.
Okay.
Yeah, she's on SNL.
Currently?
I believe still currently. And I know she has a podcast because it's one of those ads that keeps popping up on Spotify as I'm listening to other things. It's like, I'm Punky Johnson. I'm here to give you life advice and sex advice and whatever. And that's another thing I noticed about this movie. There's characters in this that I feel like had this movie had more famous leads or something, it's like these characters were meant for a bigger star to be in. Like Punky Johnson's character should have been, I'm not saying should have been, like Punky Johnson's fine.
Yeah.
But it would have been an A-list celebrity who comes in.
It would have been Whoopi Goldberg or something.
Yeah. Or Marshawn Lynch's character would have been Jamie Foxx in a different realm. There's just certain characters where I'm like, it was meant for somebody else, but this is who they got.
Yep.
Not to discredit the people who were in it, because they were all wonderful. But anyway, we get to that eventually leads to the final scene because they're like, hey, they're going to murder one of the football players and we should not let them do that because murder is bad. Which is crazy that they kind of do that in the first place.
Yeah, like...
Once again, it's a heightened world where they're just like, yeah, we're known for murdering people.
And why do they need to stop it? These football players have been bad, and I know they're trying to be the bigger people, but if no one else in this town is willing to step in and stop these football players from killing other football players, why do these girls need to do it? Let them kill those asshole football players.
Yeah, so in the context of the movie, it was everyone hates us, so if we save the football player,
they'll love us.
They won't think we suck.
Okay.
And I like how they wanted to kill the football player.
With pineapple juice?
The head quarterback, you find out early in the movie, is deathly allergic to pineapple. And so Huntington's plan is to scatter the field with pineapple juice from the sprinkler system. And I was like, that's pretty fun.
Yeah.
So the girls are like, oh, we need a distraction. Let's plant another bomb. Bomb doesn't go off. All right, well, I guess we'll just hand-to-hand combat fight.
Well, we'll make out with each other first.
Okay, that distraction didn't go off. Hazel and they try to get the two hot cheerleaders to make out.
Which is like, I love their attempt. Like they're just screaming at him, make out, like they know what the plan is. Like they're just gonna start making out.
It reminds me of that Starburns joke where it's the cop episode and he's like running from Troy and Abed and he runs up to a girl. He's like, hey, kiss me. She's like, no. He's like, it's for a distraction. I don't mean it, or whatever he says. Yeah. And she's like, that's not the issue here. Yeah. You can't just go up to someone and be like, hey, kiss me. I'm trying to do a thing.
So then Hazel and PJ make out, which I hope they get together. That just one of the things
Hazel's adorable. I like Hazel.
So cute.
In terms of this movie.
Yeah.
I like her character. And
PJ's a turd
of a person. And it makes sense that they would get together, but at no point did I find them flirtatious or have any real chemistry.
And that
other than we're two lesbians.
I think that could have been something they worked on. That's why PJ's so mean to her, is because she sees she is a really pretty girl and should have no problem getting a girlfriend, and PJ's the ugly one. And so she has to constantly shit on her to kind of keep her in her place. But it's just been kind of this deep-seated jealousy. And then she's able to kind of embrace her and go, okay, I've been doing this because I'm a turd. I actually am super, super jealous of you. And then they start making out, you know?
Yeah. And I think it's kind of funny that the whole movie, they keep calling themselves the ugly ones.
Yeah.
We're the ugly girls in school. All that stuff. But once it doesn't matter. Once you get two girls making out, no one just pays attention. It's like, oh no, we want to see that two hot girls make out. Oh wait, just any two girls will make out? Okay, we'll stop what we're doing.
And no one in this movie is ugly. But I will say they do a much better job of making these women not as attractive as say She's All That. When you see Rachel Lee Cook, it doesn't matter that she has paint on her overalls and glasses. She's still Rachel Lee Cook. But I'm glad that they can put them in outfits that are unflattering, kind of rat up their hair. And yes, we know as normal human beings, these are very pretty people. But in the context of this in this high school, sure. they're ugly.
I also want to shout out, I thought it's a joke I think a lot of people missed. And it's not like it's necessarily a funny joke. It's just something I didn't see coming. It was very quick. I like that when PJ went to apologize to Hazel near the end, she just talks to the other girl whose name I forget, but she's like, "Look, I know you're a black Republican," and that's the only mention of it, and they don't make a thing of it.
Yeah.
It's just really funny because it kind of came out of nowhere because you wouldn't expect it. I just wanted to shout out that joke because no one else in the theater laughed but me, but I was like, "Oh, that's pretty funny."
Yeah, how was your theater?
I was in a smaller theater, but it was actually but it was actually pretty full. But I had the target demo for this movie, 3 18 to 21-year-old or 17 to 21-year-old girls behind me, and I thought they were gonna like cackle through the whole movie. I thought they were gonna be pumped, but I mean they were on their before the movie started. They were quiet the movie. They weren't a problem. But it's just this movie's made for them. They're gonna love this movie. They were kind of quiet. Me and this other dude who was sitting across from me, we were both cracking up.
Yep.
We thought it was so funny. The girls behind us, they chuckled here and there, but I was like, are me and this guy going to be best friends on this movie ever? Because me and him are on the same page. We thought it was really, really funny.
Yeah, I didn't have many people in my theater, but it was me and one other guy just laughing the whole time.
Because you know what? We're just fans of comedy.
Yeah.
What was I saying? Oh, yeah. So now we're at the big final fight. The Huntington players' plan didn't work, so they're like, all right, I guess we're just going to brawl. And I thought the scene was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Just a big action sequence. You can say it's ridiculous and all that stuff.
I mean, there's a sword in it.
Yeah, but the whole movie's ridiculous. Yeah, because the team's mascot is a Viking, and the Viking mascot runs by but drops the sword, which happens to be a real sword. It's Aragorn's sword, or at least the knockoff version of it. And I know that because I own that sword in my house.
Nerd.
And my jaw opened because I did not expect another human being to be impaled by a sword. And so yeah, they all fight and it's get bloody and it's brutal and whatever. But they legitimately killed like 3 people, and no one seems to mind.
No,
the whole point was to stop their football player from being murdered, but they just killed the other team pretty much, and they're like, all right, I guess we won the big game.
Yep.
And
yeah, so in this world, do you think they got in trouble? Like, did the cops come up? Yeah, I think they just went to school the next day and it was no big deal.
Yeah. And they even make the joke, it's like, oh, wow, we just killed 3 people. And they're like, yeah, we're not going to worry about it. We'll process it later.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, okay. So as the film nerd in me wants to critique this movie on all the faults we just listed, but I enjoyed those faults. I thought this movie was a ton of fun. I loved the cast. It made me laugh. I think it rode that line of not quite hitting the 2000s era of just raunchy comedies. And I'm not saying like people had to get nude in this or anything like that. Just in terms of, when people say, oh, they're not making R-rated comedies like they used to, I think this is pretty much as good as you can get without crossing the line per se. And I just had a ton of fun with this movie, and I would happily watch this movie again. I hope more people see it, especially from a cast that is pretty much mostly unknowns for the most part. And I think this Rachel Sennett and the director, Emma... Emma
Seligman.
Yeah, I think this team has a bright future ahead of them in terms of if they all want to work together and make more female-driven comedies or just comedies in general. I think we have some good stuff to look forward to in the future. I loved Bottoms. I loved it from top to bottoms.
Very good. They say they don't make R-rated comedies anymore, and that's true. But yeah, I don't want more American Pie. I guess this is as close as we could get to something like that.
Yeah, but I'd like more Superbad.
Yeah.
I'd like more Wedding Crashers.
Sure, or Bridesmaids or something like that. This is more like not another teen movie than, say, an American Pie.
We've said on here many, many times. One of the all-time greats.
One of the best parodies.
Yeah.
But yeah, you could pick this apart, but it's just a lot of fun. And that's the most important thing about movies. Are you engaged? And I think when you start nitpicking a lot of movies that you didn't like, it's because you weren't engaged enough. So then it's easy to just find all the flaws and pick it apart, where this movie has a ton of flaws, and it's very uneven on its tone, and it doesn't know exactly what place in reality it wants to be, but who cares? It's just a lot of fun, and that's all that should matter. So I gave this movie a B.
I'm going to give it as high a B plus as I can give it without giving it to a negative, just because there is so many things kind of quote unquote wrong with it.
Yeah.
I can't put it in the A category, but a very high B plus for me. I had a really great time.
Good. Yeah. So next week is The Nun 2.
Nope.
And Steve, this is your one job.
Is it? Because I thought my one job was saying what the movie was about.
It's you. Okay, I have a couple of jobs doing this podcast. Can you have more than one?
You tell me what jobs you want me to do.
You are supposed to tell us what's coming out next week.
Okay, got it.
And you give a synopsis if I throw it to you. I don't always throw it to you, because I did it this time. So I know it's Nun 2. None your business.
Damn, I was just about to say it.
I think that's a Bob's Burgers joke. Tina was a nun with a briefcase, and she was none your business. Yeah.
So, Friday, September 8th, we have My Big Fat Greek Wedding 3.
Yikes.
Never saw 1 2.
Nope.
The Nun 2. Didn't see the first Nun. And some shit I have never heard of. I think there's...
Is that it?
3 possible Hindi movies. There's Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secrets of the Universe, whatever the fuck that is. Jawan, not rated, 2 hours 45 minutes.
Are you on the Regal app or are you on Fandango?
I'm on Fandango. And Miss Shetty, Mr. Polly Shetty, not rated, 2 hours 29 minutes.
Oh.
So the big two are Big Fat Greek Wedding and The Nun 2.
Wow.
I don't want to watch either of those.
Okay, well, you can start watching. Did you know Wheel of Time is back?
I did.
Yeah.
I saw a trailer for it a couple weeks ago and totally forgot about it. And then just like, oh yeah, it's been on for a bit. Oh shit. I don't know when I'll be able to watch all the episodes, but that is something I'm looking forward to watching.
Okay. I was thinking of A Haunting in Venice. That's the week after. All right. Well, if you want to get in contact with us, we are at WRPLpodcast@gmail.com on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. As always, I'm Ben.
And I'm Steve.
And keep consuming. Oh, I gotta pee so bad.